On this week's episode, we're all in this together, Karen. Well, that's what one university says you should not be saying in 2021 because we used up all those phrases in 2020. Also, a woman in England was literally stepping on $20,000 every day for years. And have you ever gotten mad at your significant other for something really stupid? Well, you're not alone. We have some hilarious tweets from annoyed spouses coming up. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Anchors Away. I'm Sarah Talbert. Oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. I haven't said my maiden name in 10 years almost.
Well, that's 2021 for you. How about I'll just pick it up from there?
Go for it.
Thanks for joining us. This is the first episode of Season 2, year 2021 of Anchors Away. I am Robert Burns, along with Sarah Threadgill. Or Talbert, whatever the hell you want to call yourself. You can get away with anything. Whatever your former TV name used to be, you can go with it. I thought about being Robert Cortez at one point just for a little spicy variety.
I can't believe I did that.
It's all right. It happens. Remember, all you listeners out there, as we screw up the first episode of the year, you can subscribe to hear more screw-ups throughout the rest of 2021 anywhere you listen to your podcast, or you can go on YouTube and just search Anchors Away, and it pops up there as well. With that being said, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It's quite a beginning to 2021.
It's been a hell of a start. 2021. We obviously we took a break for Christmas. We took a break for New Year's because they go back to back, and then 1 week after that is my birthday, which is tomorrow, Friday, January 8th. So that's usually how you can't forget my birthday, Christmas, New Year's, and then my day are 7 days apart each week. So whatever day they fall on, that is just kind of what you roll with. And everybody who's been asking me, like family members, they say, hey, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, we literally just got finished with Christmas. Nobody has any money. There's nothing to do. I don't really care. It's birthday 36. Nobody gives a crap about what, happens on 36. It's not a milestone. Honestly, I'm closer to 40 now than I would prefer. So, it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. I reached that 36 mark a few years ago, I remember. But it's hard when you're on the closer side of 40 at that point.
When you listen to me say, oh, I'm 36, you're like, I hate you. Whatever.
Yeah, I'll be 39 in April, so thanks.
Hey, but you know what? The hair looks good. The hair still looks good.
It does. So happy birthday to you, Robert.
Thank you very much. Without going into any more nonsense that's going on in the world, how about we just jump right in to more things that you have to know other than Kim Kardashian filing for divorce against Kanye West. Women are happy that she's doing it, and men are happy she's going to be back on the market, I think.
I'm so over that woman. I'm just being honest. Done with that lady. But hey, I've got a little cute story, kind of cute, kind of crazy story about a lady in England. She, I guess, has horses, kind of lives out in the countryside of England, and for years she's been using this like rock, kind of, I guess it'll just square rock, and she's placed it in her garden, and she uses it to help herself get up on her horse, and she's been doing this for years. Turns out that rock is ancient history and is worth about $20,000 now.
Whoa.
So insane.
And the thing is like, and people are going to hear this story. You're going to look it up if you click on the link in the show notes. You will look at this rock and you will say, this looks like everything I have in my backyard right now. And I am now going to go out there, as long as it's not snowing, and start investigating each piece of sedimentary rock and all the other ones out there to make sure that I don't have any hidden money in my backyard that I don't know about. Because there's nothing about it that looks anything spectacular.
No, but what's funny about this, and I'm imagining this particular side of the rock was face down in the dirt, because I
Hmm.
don't know how she wouldn't have seen this, but if you, go and look at the image of the rock, there are two engraved wreaths on the rock, and then there's Latin words
Hmm.
that are also engraved on the rock. And so apparently she didn't see any of that. And I guess she finally turned it over, saw it, and asked somebody to come out and take a look at it. And they're saying it's pretty old, 300 years old, and worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah, and what I think is funny is as I read this, I read that it says that it was likely carved in ancient Greece, I know, or Asia Minor, which is a term I have not heard since middle school geography class, history class, Asia Minor, along with, Anglo-Saxon. Those are things we don't really use anymore because Asia Minor is also known as Turkey nowadays.
Yes.
So I read that and I was like, holy crap, I just kind of like transformed back to middle school and whoever was teaching that class. But yeah, if you look at it, you're right. There's those two wreaths on there. They look like what Julius Caesar would have on his head. And
Hmm.
it's very faint, the writing that's on the slab. So I would have never thought anything about it. I would have just, I'm sure she may not have looked at it, or I don't know, which direction it was pointing, but it looks like it's got enough height to it that it would be used to hop on a horse. But if she cashes it in, anybody who knows the equine community, it is not an expensive hobby. So $20,000 would go well spent, I think, in keeping up the horse and the rest of that stable.
Yes, and it goes on auction this February. So if it's something that just tickles your fancy, and I said it's 300 years old, it's way older than that. It's saying, the article is saying it was brought to England approximately 300 years ago, that they would, in the 18th and 19th century, aristocrats would bring culture and art, over across, and apparently this made its way to England, and she's just been using it as a stepping stone. It's funny to me because it just sounds like something like any grandma would do, right? Like you just put a rock out there and you step on it every day and get on your horse, and then turns out it's ancient history and it's beautiful.
Well, it's not only ancient history in the terms of what it is, it's also ancient history because it is no longer in that woman's backyard or where she
No.
rides her horses. So it is now going to be likely in a museum. She will be paid handsomely for it. And like I said, I think we're all going to go in the backyard now, or tell your family and friends, you go look at those rocks because you don't know what you have. And likely
No.
we got a bunch of junk, the Home Depot
No.
rocks in the backyard. That's probably what we all have.
Probably. But you know what? Every time I'm out with my kids and we're, by a creek, or we're, just exploring, I'm constantly looking down because you just never know. You might step on something. There could be an arrowhead or a fossil. I mean, I'm just totally interested in stuff like this. This is right up my alley. So very intriguing. Maybe I'll eventually find something cool like this.
I've always wanted to find a dinosaur bone. And every time I look for something, I think it's a dinosaur bone, or I think, oh my god, look, it's a fossil. And it's really just a rock or a stick or something really, or bird poop that's fossilized or something like that. That's
Yeah.
usually my luck of what I end up finding whenever we go hiking or
Yeah.
by a creek.
Well, maybe one day we'll get lucky, Robert.
One day our luck will change, hopefully. Our vocabulary, though, has to change a little bit this year.
It has to.
Because 2021 was just a god awful year in many ways. But in grammatically speaking, it sucks, and we can't bring it in to 2021. Did I say 21 sucked? 2020 sucked. 2021 has to be better.
It has to be.
Side note: have you had to date anything yet, like a check or anything?
No, but my husband did point out last night, we were laying in bed and he was playing on his phone and the date was up, and he's like, "Oh, that's trippy looking at that date." It's just wow, 2021. Insane.
Yeah, it takes me a while, usually in the beginning of the year, to switch writing the dates. It took me about zero point 0.3 seconds to write 21 on there. I didn't hesitate in not writing 2020 because that was the year where you had to write 2020. Remember, you couldn't just put.
Yes.
Now you can get away with 21. I was so happy to do it.
Yes. I remember that as a kid though in school, having, a couple months there where I'd mess up. But I mean, right when we were recording this intro, I messed up and said my maiden name, which is 9 years old. Like I've been married for 9 years, and my maiden name just came out clean as, clear as day. So
Didn't
it
even
happens.
hesitate.
Your brain just Yep.
I'm glad that you did not say COVID-19, though. Oops, I guess we just did. Sorry, we used a banned word. Yeah, I said it. 2021 has a list. They usually do this every year anyway. But there's a new list out of the words that one university has banished for all of 2021 because we used them so damn much in 2020. And really, it was only like 8 to 10 months are the time frames that we did this. So Lake Superior State University, you're probably never going to hear of them outside of this study because this is what they got. They give us the top 10 list of banished words that we should try really hard not to use this year. And I'm going to start with number 1 and go down because some of them are the obvious, like I just mentioned. The number 1 on this list is COVID-19, COVID, coronavirus, the Rona, whatever the hell you want to call it. We overuse the hell out of it, I would imagine, because we never had to deal with it before. Make sense?
Yes. I don't see that one necessarily going away in 2021.
Number 2, social distancing, something that is on every sign at every store or any sort of retail or any place that you go, essentially. There's going to be something that says social distancing. I don't see that one going away.
No. So far, 2 for 2 that are going to probably stick around.
We're all in this together. This is where I think we can start to wean ourselves off. I think back when masks were first a thing, that was probably the best way. We're all in this together. We can do it. Now nobody cares. We're protesting in groups. We're shopping in groups. We're doing all types of things. There ain't no more social distancing other than just making ourselves feel better on the signs. So we're all in this together. Probably not going to be on this list next year.
Yeah, well, we're all in this together in an abundance of caution, Robert. So.
You used the number 4 phrase that we are not allowed to use in 2021, especially because number 5 is in these certain uncertain times or anything of the like. Nobody cares. They're uncertain times no more. It's just Tuesday or Friday or whatever it is.
Well, isn't every time an uncertain time? I mean, that's just a bad phrase altogether.
Yeah, but it was really, that and the new normal, whatever it was. Those two I think are synonymous and they go back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
The next one, number 6.
It reminds me of one of my favorite episodes of Friends.
Here we go. Pivot.
Pivot.
Pivot. Pivot.
He says it so many times in that episode. It's fantastic. But that's not a word I would have imagined to be on the list. I don't remember even saying pivot throughout the entire year.
Me either. I'm not quite sure why that one's on the list, but it just reminds me of Ross and pivot.
I don't know how it couldn't. I don't remember using pivot. Maybe businesses had to pivot. We're pivoting the way that we do things. I don't know. It's to me, it's
an odd
stupid.
one. It's an odd one on the list.
Unprecedented over that one as well.
Yes, that one can go. I think out of probably all of the 10, I think that one's most overused.
So here's my question on the last 3. Which of these last 3 should be higher on the list as opposed to which one should be number 8 and which one should be number 10? So I would say what is number 8 is a phrase that I am tired of hearing, but I am not tired of watching videos of.
Exactly.
And that is the phrase Karen.
Karen. Those Karen videos, I'm telling you, it's such an addiction. You get on Instagram and you watch one video of a lady going off on somebody and 10 videos later, they're everywhere. They're everywhere and they're addicting. And
I don't know why the women who fit into that category continue with that haircut. You change it up a little bit. You just give it some time. It'll go away. You can bring it back later on.
And I feel sorry for all the women named Karen because you're
being
lumped in there. Sorry, but it's such a thing. And so I think Karen stays at number 8. I think it's a great spot for it.
What about this one? I didn't even know was a word or a phrase. Sus, as in a shortened version for the word suspicious. Your kids might use it out there. For any listeners out there, might be saying that's really sus. No, stupid. Just say the word suspicious. Okay?
Yeah.
That's like for me when people say legit. No, just say legitimate. All right, yes. You idiot. Just freaking go with it.
No, I don't think anyone's ever said the word sus to me. I don't think I would know what they were trying to say
I
when
mean,
they
you're
said
pushing
that.
40, so if any of your peers
I
use the word
know I'm old.
sus.
Out of it.
And number 10, the correct phrase that you should have had as a response would have been, I know, right?
No, I know, right?
That one I don't think is going anywhere. That's not even
This,
overly used as a phrase for 2020. It's just overly used, period.
I think it's just a Kardashian phrase that got picked up or something. I
I
don't know.
know. I know,
I
right?
know, right?
You can't help but
Ugh,
not say it. You can't help but not
right?
say it. But thank you to Lake Superior State University. We will talk to you again next year because usually not a whole lot happens and they're putting themselves in the news one way or the other. We appreciate it for giving us the top 10 list of phrases overly used and banned for the year 2021. All right, we do want to thank our sponsor for this show, Anchor. It's the easiest way for us to bring you the podcast. They give us everything we need, it's all in one place, and most importantly, it's all free. Everything on our iPhones, on our iPads, on our computers, all the creation tools to edit, it's all included, and they distribute the show for us. Send it to Spotify, send it to Apple, send it to Google. So you can start your own podcast, get in on the game, download the Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm to get started.
And final story
Awkward
to talk about.
pause
Okay,
as we
Robert,
wait for that.
awkward pause. So here's something that happens to me sometimes, and I think other women have had this happen to them, maybe husbands and significant others. So I have a dream maybe that my husband's doing something he's not supposed to be doing
I know where
in my
this is
dream,
going.
and then I wake up and I'm angry with him,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm mad at him.
It's our
I mean,
fault.
I'm legitimately upset. Like, how could you?
Are
How
you a
could I
bit
what?
sus about it?
I'm a bit sus. I'm a bit sus about it. I know, right? Uh, so Huffington Post has this article, and it's truly hilarious because I think so many people can relate to it. That you get mad at your significant other, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, for something that's just so ridiculous. So they've come up with a list of 20 different tweets or 25 different tweets from, from Americans who are just saying, here's why my significant other got mad at me. Here's one in particular. My wife just yelled at me for yawning too loudly. Our marriage has officially leveled up. So
I can see that. I can see that because because you mentioned it before we even started recording the show here that we've been closer together than before with each other. You've been in the house with your husband and the kids longer than you thought you were going to be, and the little things annoy the shit out of you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know.
Yes, and this is men and women. This woman, Sarah Buckley, tweeted, "If I say something I think is funny and my husband doesn't laugh, then I'm instantly mad." So there's just things about your significant other. My husband, I will say, he has a very loud sneeze, very very loud.
Is it almost to the point where you think you're overdoing it? Like now you're just going for attention.
No, it's not, because you can tell when somebody's like being loud just to be loud, and then his is just loud. Like I told him, I was like, you could like power a rocket booster to the moon with the power coming out of that sneeze. Like he just has a very powerful sneeze. But again, there's things I know I do. One thing that I do, and I didn't know I was doing this when I first met my husband. I tend to leave cabinets open. Like I'll get a plate out of a cabinet and I'll just leave it open. So
that's
you
a bit
walk into the
annoying.
kitchen
I
and
would
there's
close it and and I would under my breath say, "Don't worry, I'll close the cabinet," and then I would close the cabinet.
Yeah, I don't know why I do that. I don't just close it when I'm done with it. So there will be drawers and cabinets. You walk into my kitchen and drawers and cabinets open. I know, it's so weird.
So as I hear some of these tweets, it brings me over to something that people can actually learn from this, and it's that there was another recent study that was done, and it's from Sioux City, Iowa, where they said 2020 produced a higher rate of divorce than the prior year. in 2019, mainly because of quarantine forcing people during the pandemic to not only be together, but then driving them apart, because legal experts were saying divorces were up 34% in 2020 than in 2019. That is an obscene amount of people that realize it's not going to work out, and probably realized it sooner than when it was going to happen, because to be real, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen anyway.
Yes, and I totally believe that to be true. And in fact, I've actually known some people that unfortunately are going through that process right now. And I don't know, maybe some of it, maybe a big part of it is we're just not used to spending that much quality time together. And then when you're forced to do so, I don't know, it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky.
Yeah.
But I will say I've enjoyed the time with my family. I mean, it is what it is. We're stuck together. We're gonna hang out together. But I've actually enjoyed it. But I can see where, especially if you're a very independent person, maybe you don't have kids and you're used to working and he's working, and then all of a sudden you're stuck in a house together. It might get a little hairy at times.
Little thing. So I mentioned that number, that the divorce rate was up 34% in 2020 than in 2019. I would say, looking at those numbers, a little less than half of those were couples that were married 5 years or less. So I guess technically newlyweds still,
Yes.
where they might have made it to 10 years or whatever it was. But 5 years or less, they got pushed closer together and they said, you know what, I'm out. That's it.
Yeah.
Your loud sneeze, the hair that you leave on the shower wall after you're done, I can't take it anymore. I'd rather be single.
I wonder how many of that percentage have children, because I think children kind of act as a buffer sometimes. You're so busy dealing with the kids, and I might hear that giant powerful sneeze from the other room, but I'm busy cleaning up breakfast from the kids. So I think when you have that buffer, it helps. And I think work can be that buffer, kids can be the buffer. I'm curious to see how many of those people don't really have a buffer and then they're just forced together.
Another thing I'm thinking of is not only were you stuck close with your significant other and the kids, but you didn't have your friends' outlet like you had before. You couldn't go hang out with your people. You couldn't just go do your thing. For a while, you couldn't go to the gym and just clear your head and do your Orange Theory or whatever it is. And the guys couldn't go and just, do whatever they do with their guy friends. You were stuck with each other, and you were stuck with each other and your individual families as well.
Yes.
And sometimes that can push that button as well. If you're stuck with your in-laws one way or the other, if all you see are your in-laws and the person that you are with, that might just kind of amplify it a little bit, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I will say the last 8 months we've lived with my in-laws. So
all these things I'm saying, you were the outlier. Yeah,
well,
I know.
I'm the outlier. I am the outlier because I truly have enjoyed spending time with them. It's been very, very easy, and I'm very blessed and thankful, because it could have gone the other way where, can you imagine? I mean, not liking your in-laws and you're living with them for 8 months. I'm just very, very thankful I'm the outlier on that. But I can see that. I mean, my he loves to lift weights, and he hadn't been to the gym in, almost a year. So it's difficult. I think people need that outlet. They need their friends. They need, just something. So yeah, but this list is pretty funny if you get a chance to go through. There's one in particular. My wife got mad at me because I didn't get the right kind of frozen yogurt. So the husband brings home, instead of frozen yogurt, he brought home kid yogurt that has Frozen the movie on it.
No, see, okay. To save your relationships, if you're going to make a grocery list, be ultra specific. Especially if you're sending a man to do the shopping, because we will get what is on there. If you say frozen peas, I'm getting frozen peas, not anything specific that we already have in the freezer I've seen 9 million times.
Well, that's what's hilarious. This is frozen yogurt. It's Frozen the movie, and it's yogurt. It's kitty yogurt, but she apparently wanted the frozen yogurt. No, when I send my husband, I've been known to take pictures and text him and be like, this exact thing is what I want.
That is much better. I would be able to not screw that up. Although I will say, in that woman's defense, in that tweet, she was not wrong. And he was not wrong. Technically,
it was frozen yogurt.
It was frozen, and it was yogurt. She could have put froyo, and that probably would have given it away a little bit more.
Froyo, maybe that's a word that needs to be on the banished list.
Hell no, I love froyo. Actually, I
I
went to a
love
froyo
froyo. I don't like
place.
the word froyo. I would love to. Wouldn't that be so fun to open up a froyo
Yeah,
place?
well, the one I wanted to go to a couple of months ago was closed because it was like buffet style, and you can't do that anymore.
Yes.
And I was craving froyo, and we couldn't have it. So that is something that I could actually probably put on my list to have this year
There
once
you
I
go.
once I lose my COVID weight, which is something that is
Yeah, I
not
call it
fun
the
and in the
COVID-10. I know what you're talking about. It happens. I think it happens to most of us.
Could be 10 for you, could be more for others, but that'll be the first episode of the year. Season 2 off to a bombing start. Remember, you can subscribe, tell your friends, leave us a rating. That really helps us kind of grow the show. Follow Sarah online, follow myself online as well. We'll see you next week.
Later.